Hi everyone, this is Matt, and I'm going to go into a new series for FFBE where I try to do reviews for each unit in a roughly 6 minutes. Um, Most of them are going to take a little longer than that, and obviously there will be a lot of oops here, similar to this countdown right now. But my goal is to try to get you to understand the units in pretty good depth in a short period of amount of time. I hope you guys like it. Stick with me and let me know in the comments down below. And I know this is pretty early in the video to do this, but I really want to make this where people enjoy and learn as much as possible in a short period of time. So stay tuned for Guardian Blade Charlotte and Emperor Vlad. Thank you. Alright, now, Guardian Blade Charlotte. TMR is attack, spirit, and LB damage 50%. To me, this is a pretty good TMR that I think I'm going to use a lot. The LB damage is just nice with the attack and spirit overall. The STMR is an interesting weapon. I have some misgivings about it. The attack is plus 190. It's a two-handed weapon. It has a passive for Charlotte users that increases attack and spirit static by 700. So this is a huge attack and spirit increase, but her Brave Shift form is a true dual wield, so it's kind of sad because I really like her Brave Shift form, but she might not want to use her STMR because of it. Vision card is the same as Vlad's. Um, so it has base attack 100, base magic 80. When equipped with sword, great sword, 40, rod 50. So you can get up to 80% attack, 100% magic, or 50 and 40 depending on. Sorry. You can get So you can get up to 100% magic or 160% attack, depending on how you have everything equipped. We're going to redo this. Guardian Blade Charlotte. Passive TMR is attack, spirit, LB damage 50%. Top tier. Very happy to get more LB damage TMRs, especially the attacks and spirit. It's actually kind of nice with the spirit with the 50%. There's some shenanigans where I think it can actually be used a lot to help with limit burst damage with spirit based damagers. Kind of excited about that personally. So I think this is a very good TMR. Still a little niche, but because it's 50% limit burst damage and gives you attack, there are a couple of slightly better, but they're STMR related. This, for being a TMR, I think is incredibly powerful. The STMR, 190 attack, two-handed weapon, and for Charlotte users, increases static attack and spirit by 700. My only problem is with her Brave Shift. She prefers true dual wield, and also other users who are tanks. The spirit is really large increase, but you lose some potential slight helps for elemental coverage. So it's one of those, it sounds great, but in practice it has some drawbacks along with it, so it's not nearly as powerful as I would like it to be. The vision card is very similar to Vlad's, 100 attack, 80 magic. You can get up to 80% for each sword, great sword, if you add 4 and 7, or 100% with rod. This is a great hybrid if you're going to go true hybrid, but most people are going to build either very high physical or magical build instead. So At least, with the base 100 attack, if you're building a physical hybrid, this 80 magic comes along for the ride. You can get up to 160% if you equip a sword and a great sword as well. And so that, if you're dual wielding, this can actually be a very powerful vision card. True double hand is a little less, but still gives you great options. But I love this increased limit burst damage 50% as well. And along with the TMR here, you've got another 100% limit burst overall. Weapon capability, a very nice range of weapons, and as expected, a very nice range of armors. For her normal shift, she is ice based, does ice physical damage, and both of these are caps. So she can cast 2 times with the magic and abilities. And the magic here is just increased spirit, but she can do innate abilities here. This one can go up to 210 max to all enemies, decrease ice resistance, and increase ice physical and magic damage 20%. Very nice. Basically, you're going to cast this once, and then, and this is AoE. And then for single enemies, this is the capper. For multiple enemies, obviously, for AoE effect, you'll still do this. Increases attack 250, more LB damage as well, can't be dispelled, and increases limit burst gauge to caster. Speaking of which, she is able to true brave shift at any time, so she can go back and forth if you are looking for her limit burst. She can increase her defense and spirit and mitigate damage 35% to all allies. This is nice. It's not just to her, it's all allies. And she can also restore HP, MP, and limit burst fill rate to all allies as well. So she is a good supporting unit as well. This one's defense, and this one is LB. And I do like this. Mitigate damage taken 80% for 3 turns to all allies, 4 uses per battle, and increase resistance 100% to all allies as well. The ice is okay, but that mitigate damage 80% is really, really good for 4 times. That's something that I could see myself trying to use over and over again. She hates undead. She is, for this one, a true double hand, 200%. She can increase her chain modifier cap as well. The TMR, STMR, when HP is above 5, she can ignore fatal damage once. It's okay. She doesn't need to have her TMR equipped or STMR, so it gives you some flexibility there. This is not really all that powerful. She does want a sword or great sword for attack, and she does recover 7% of her MP per turn, so she is her own battery as well. Now, the one thing though is they built her as a limit burst unit. Her ice physical damage of 115x to one enemy isn't really that strong for a limit burst at 56 cost. It's a single attack. Not really a huge fan of it, but I am a huge fan of her Brave Shift. She has 3 elements that she can use: ice, wind, lightning. The ice has 70% damage, along with the wind 70. The lightning's only 55 for the AOE. Not sure why that they lowered it for the lightning, but and they all decrease resistances for 4 turns by 120%. Ice is bolting, wind is AMOE, and lightning stardust. And she can triple cast these as well. The wind physical damage is 1 enemy. And lightning stardust ray, but she doesn't get ice stardust ray. The one thing that I do think I'm a little sad about, but all in all, she is a elemental Lauren type where she can do 3 decreases of ice resistance, or sorry, 3 element resistances: ice, wind, lightning. And also another very nice one. It's AoE. She can only do it once. It's 100x cap and decreases ice, lightning, and wind resistance 120% for 4 turns to all enemies. Um, all in all, she's someone that can do a lot of damage. Now we're going to go to here, increase attack, LB damage, Reaper Killer very high. This is the one thing that I'm a little sad about. That everything here, they want dual wielding, increases chain modifier cap 200%, 150% while dual wielding. That doesn't allow her to use her STMR, which gives 700 attack on top of it. So I am a little disappointed there. I haven't done the damage calculations, but if you have her STMR, it actually is going to be one of those. Do you go with Epine? What's the damage here? I do think that they kind of made her Brave Shift form a little less interesting because that they went with a true dual wield instead of true double hand. But if you have a Savior Lightning's STMR, you can at least kind of come up and change that a little bit overall. Her normal attack is a wind physical damage, decreases wind resistance by 120%. That is very, very nice. And her limit burst max is 110x to all enemies, 24 hits. So, I know I went way over time with Guardian Blade Charlotte, but she's an interesting unit that has a lot of things going for her. Now, stay tuned for Vlad. Alright, let's go over Vlad. The TMR is okay. 40% dark resistance, 100% magic with single wielding any weapon with or without shield. One nice thing is Vlad can equip a light shield, and he gets 200%. So with his TMR, it gives him 300% and gives him a little bit more sustainability. But all in all, it's something that I'm going to say go get this unit for. The rod itself is also okay. It is 184 magic rod. It has 300% one turn to caster on battle, revival, or brave shift. It's an interesting mechanic, but not exactly something that I go, ooh, it's super broken. The vision card, though, is very interesting because it gives you both attack and magic. Now, Vlad can do attack, but you're really only going to use him for magic and mostly in the Brave Shift form. But this, I think, is also a wonderful card for Starlight Elena with base attack 100, magic 80. Also gives you 40% or 80% total when equipped with a sword and a great sword, so you can get up to 160% attack, dual wielding units, or 50% magic with the rod. So if you are looking to do a true max hybrid for like Elena, equipping a sword and a rod, you can still get 80% attack and 100% magic as well. That's kind of where I see this vision card use for, and with the 50% limit burst damage, very, very good improvement there. Now we're just going to go to the Brave Shift. It's available from turn 1, duration 4 turns. But honestly, most of this Vlad's power is in his Brave Shift. We'll go quickly into his normal. He has basically just Dark Attack that he can cast 3 times. He has both Chaos Wave and Absolute Mirror of Equity. Chaos Wave increases his magic by 250 for 4 turns, and he can decrease his Dark Resistance 120 with the AMOE. At most, you're only going to cast this every 4 turns each. Otherwise, you're just going to be using this damage. Now remember, it's magic star damage. So that means it uses physical abilities, so it can be imbued. It can have physical killers that will lend to magic. So there is some power in that regards. But this is the main skill you're going to use. 100x in his main form. His cooldown and Magnus abilities are actually lackluster. The increased magic 300% for 4 turns to caster is an improvement over his 250, but the mitigate physical damage to caster only is not really that useful. You're not going to use it a great deal, and you're not going to be using Zon unless if you're going to use Zon, but otherwise it's kind of disappointing. It'd be great if it was to all units. Um, Lastly, his Magnus increased defense 300% caster. You should have a tank for it. Gives HP barrier and mitigates damage. All for caster as well. Interesting, but I don't think you're going to use it. Normal attack is actually going to turn into a AMOE. But since he's true double hand, can increase his chain modifier cap by 100%. That's nice. LB damage 150, 150 magic, and 200% magic and accuracy there. Quickly going to his limit burst. It's 110x total, 888 hits. Very odd chaining. Not really all that great. But his Brave Shift form is very interesting because of this skill, and it's not because it's 25x, but it's because it's got the ability to be increased for modifiers, which these 4 here, and you can quadcast this skill 4 times, anything 4 times except for store HP 50%, NP 100%, which you store once, so he can completely restore his MP. This is very, very good to him as well. But what you're going to use him for primarily, and these are the exact same thing except for he gets LB gauge 3 per turn, and he has 300% already for his form when single wielding any weapon, plus his if you use his TMR, he's already at max 400% true double hand with the modifier cap and the LB damage. But let's go quickly to the LB and then we'll go back. It is an ability that you're going to use, and all it really does is maxing it out lowers the level here, but in order to use him you definitely need to make sure that you upgrade it fully. The increased magic 250, then after 2 turns it goes to 300 for 2 turns. First 2 turns you get 30% physical and dark magic increase to yourself and 250x to that small skill that you saw there. Then it goes to 40% after turn 3, and on turn 4 you get 50% increased damage plus 300x. So that 50% turns into plus 3 turns into 325x with 50% more damage. While quadcast, he can do an awful lot of damage on turn 5 if you can get his limit burst instantly. He takes a little while to build up and can do lots of damage. This is where his power comes from. The rest of his kit really is just there to kind of do stuff. Before you get the limit burst going, you are going to pretty much just cast this as much as you need to do it. So turn 1, you're going to Brave Shift, cast this twice maybe, and then you can do at least 2 sets of dark damage, or twice, and you can try and decrease rod resistance, or even increase. But this rod resistance is only for 1 turn, so you're probably just still. I'm still thinking you're going to cast this twice if you have it down to 50. Even if you get it down to 75, that would be enough to cast this 3 times and then the dark damage. Or if you have it level 1, cast it 4 times. Don't do any damage, limit burst, and go ham. Still, you're looking at turn 6 for maximum damage. And this is AoE, so it's not going to be insane, but for like a turn 6 kill for a dark enemy, Ibarra's still going to be probably preferred, But the only place I do really see him being used right now, because with the Clash of Wills, seems to be they're trying to get you to do a turn 5 kill. Um, Still pretty good damage overall, turn 4 and 5 if you do it correctly, but the best damage is going to be on the fourth turn of the Limit Burst. So that's my quick going over Vlad. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Up next is going to be should you pull for these two units. Alright, so let's now go over Emperor Vlad's positives, negatives, and will I pull. Positives. Brave Shift can end up as an incredibly powerful dark finisher. It's going to be based off his Limit Burst. And then for the next 4 turns, you're going to see a very huge power spike. And then depending on how you build it, it will be Limit Burst, 4 turns, and the 4th turn will be by far his most powerful turn, Limit Burst, 4 turns, etc., until the boss is beaten. So very, very powerful. Mods of getting up to even 400x if you want to do it, but the best way is to quad cast 325x, which is just incredible for that 4th turn after Limit Burst. And that Brave Shift Limit Burst, as I say, gives great power to Vlad. And you can force it even without gear to be able to be cast on turn 2. Very, very well designed there. But the normal form is just not very good unit in the Neovision age at all. Really, in order for Emperor Vlad to be even useful at one bit, it's all on the Neovision side. Use the normal form to get enough Limit Burst so that you can Brave Shift to cast a Limit Burst. That's all you're going to really use it for. The STMR and TMR are incredibly lackluster for Neovision, right? There are some uses for it, and that Brave Shift. So what you'll use it for, the STMR, is you'll Brave Shift, cast a Limit Burst at a good amount of damage, and then the 300 limit magic is gone. So it has its use, but it is very niche and he has some interesting buffs, but only buffs himself, so I call him a very greedy unit. If it was to all allies, like Guardian Blade Charlotte, I would be much more excited for this unit, but unfortunately, it's not. So will I pull? No, too niche of a unit to suggest pulling for. I'm going to obviously, I do the treasure banners. I will try and do the treasure banner. If I get Vlad, there is a use for him. He is a very powerful dark finisher. But I do not suggest people for going all out, going to pity for this unit, unless if you're desperate for a dark finisher, or if you really want to have the most powerful dark visions, etc., or you really like the unit. But for the average FFBE player, this is a unit you go, okay, I can use, but I'm not going to build directly. So no, excuse me. For Guardian Blade Charlotte, positives, her TMR is STMR top quality. That 50% limit bursts with 50 attack and 50% spirit. There's some niche uses that I have planned for this TMR. I'm really excited for it. I know that there's a lot of limit burst gauge up things, but I don't know. I really like the TMR. The Brave Shift form is a great element debuffer that can attack and chain very well as well. With the 3 elements, ice, wind, and lightning, it's a little odd that her ice form and her Brave Shift is a little shafted, especially considering how great of a ice designer that she is. She is a very powerful ice finisher, but that normal form is locked to ice. So it's one of those where the negative form, she's locked to ice, but she is a incredibly powerful ice finisher. Um, so I put it in the negatives, but there's also a huge power positive on how powerful she is as an ice finisher, physical ice finisher. And for her form, that STMR for her ice finisher is absolutely fantastic for. It's almost designed just for her to use to finish with physical ice. But her Brave Shift form really could use it, but she's designed to do wield. You can, as I say, there's one of those things where you can try and figure out overall damage and the like, but that for an STMR, you don't want to be doing all the advanced math calculus to figure out is it good, especially for that said unit in her Brave Shift form. For her normal form, though, adding 700 attack and spirit, flat stats, is just a huge buff with their true double hand form. Very, very nice there, but I consider it a negative when you've got when it's basically saying, look, I'm doing calculus to figure out whether or not I want to equip the STMR on this unit. I just I just wish it was a little bit better. This one's a little harder. I am not pulling for her very hard. I will do the treasure pull. But if you're looking for a very powerful ice finisher for the normal form, and someone that can do debuffs in the Brave Shift form, this is a very, very well designed unit outside of the STMR. It is a slightly more powerful Lauren in the Brave Shift form without the ability to doing breaks, but a very good debuffer with some good attack. Normal form, all she is a huge ice finisher that can buff up your defense and spirit as well. So it's an odd combination there, but if you like her as a unit, definitely go pull. She is just outside of the area that I'm currently interested in, so would I love to have her? Yes. Uh, will I be upset if I get her? Definitely not. I want her, but I'm just not willing to do more than the treasure pull for. So I hope you guys enjoy. Please like and subscribe. You can also catch me live on Twitch. If you've got any questions, I'll be happy to answer it there or in the comments down below. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.